paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
I mean, like, I got rid of Netflix out of protest.
Sure.
And I'm sticking to it for now until I get frustrated enough to.
Netflix is the last bastion of a subscription that my mom pays for. Like, that's the only.
Wait, how do you get away with it? How have they not, like?
I think my mom just doesn't use it. Is the answer to that? Like,
They're just now charging her $7 more a month for you.
DJ's house is probably set up as the home location.
That's quite possible. Like, so I shared Netflix with my best friend from Ohio growing up and my sister, and I all shared a Netflix account with our spouses. And then like they provide like Hulu and Disney Plus. We provided Netflix and Amazon Prime, and like everybody just here's the ones I subscribe to.
It's the 21st century version of the hunter-gatherer relationship. Like,
or the problem in the commons, right? it's the commons problem that the corporations don't want us to solve. They're like, what if we just shared our Netflix password with everyone who has Netflix?
I'm just thinking of like one of those
we had to get rid of ours.
Like you know those food, you know those what are they called? Not communes, but like the food like where you have like a community, like a
commune. Yeah. Where you share
commune
everything.
Sounds culty though, but like there's a word for it.
It's a food bank, DJ.
No,
cooperative.
Yes, yeah, food co-op. Like you have a food co-op, but it's a streaming co-op. And you just get all the hippies. You just get all the hippies like living homeless in Portland, and they're all starving to death. But like, bro, I got the Netflix. She's got the Dropout. Like, we're a community, man. We're.
I mean, basically, and the problem is we all figured it out too well, and now we're being punished.
Yeah.
It sucks.
We're counting cards at the casino of capitalism.
Yep. And they're like, all right, fine. We're going to put the screws to them and see who gives in.
Bro, I tried to watch Dune with Bonnie last week, and I was trying to figure out how to stream the movie through Discord. And it's like, I'll pay for one copy, but like, we shouldn't need to pay for 2 copies to watch it.
They broke that. You can't do that anymore.
I know. I spent 20 minutes trying to.
Bro, that one got me a few years ago when I bought Paramount just to watch Survivor on Discord with people, and then we found out that they had changed their streaming service where not only could you not stream the like the app directly, I couldn't even screen capture and have
it. I was trying to do the same workarounds.
Yes, I tried lots of different options for it, and I don't know the technology. I don't know what it does or how, frankly, it's even legal to stop a screen capture. But yeah. What is JJ pointing at and doing? Does he know that this is the podcast? Do you think?
A Jeopardy spin. It was like a Jeopardy D&D spinoff. They've done a lot of weird.
Good for them for trying, I guess. I'm not a fan of this stuff, but good for them for trying.
I think if you watch them, you probably would be.
Yeah, but I'm not paying for another streaming service, man. Can you share your password with me?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I don't care.
No, I mean, it's that a thing?
We go back to the Netflix conversation.
Are you allowed to? That wasn't a will you. It was
3 people using my Dropout account right now.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Understood. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Sam
I'll be in the
Rice,
Netherlands.
The most conservative American.
Yep, he's known for his illiberal stances on when it comes to password sharing.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Titanic or something earlier. Are you familiar that they have a new mnemonic device in school to help kids remember history?
Go on.
Ben hit me with this one the other day. You know how there's like in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue or whatever, even though it's like Christopher Columbus,
problematic.
Yeah, whatever.
Syracuse is finally getting rid of their Columbus statue. We just got it
Nice.
officially checked to get torn down this past week.
There you go. Well, Ben hit me with this one the other day. In 1912, the Titanic took its L.
Holy shit.
That's good.
I died, man. Not as much as the people in the Titanic, but I fucking died when he told me that. That was hilarious.
The teacher spun around with a backwards baseball cap and said that with finger guns.
Man.
I don't know where he picked it up. I don't know if it came from the teacher or like a YouTube video, but I was like, yes,
It
man,
doesn't matter.
pure mind blown moment.
Oh, that's so
shit.
good.
And with that, everybody, welcome in the Brainstorm Brewery. It's me, DJ and JJ, this week here casting to you from the depths of hell, I believe is where you could say we are. DJ's on 2 hours of sleep. JJ's in the middle of nowhere. Honestly, I'm doing all right, but I'm here with them. So here we go.
Corbin, that's you can't say you're doing all right when you live in Oklahoma.
Well, I could live in Missouri
Hey, it's just misery.
and not in Kansas City, which is a nice place. You have the good Kansas City.
Wait, Kansas City,
state.
Kansas?
No, Kansas City, Kansas sucks. Kansas City, Missouri is nice. That's my understanding of Kansas City.
Yes, that is how it works.
Yeah, that's just like the dark. That's the dark. The light doesn't.
All
touch
the
that,
best
Simba.
states, all the best cities in Missouri are right on the edges.
Because they wanted to
all
get
like-
out and just couldn't quite make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
halfway stuck through the fence like a cartoon dog.
Yeah. Well, welcome into the show, everybody. DJ, I think, is probably in the worst spot of all of us. Not at this exact moment, as you can see, he's chilling in his office. He's surrounded by Pokemon. I'm sure it's great. However, he is on 2 hours of sleep. What the hell happened to you, DJ?
Well, I am fresh off of Commandfest Atlanta, which was cool stuff's Commandfest for this quarter or half year or whatever events are distributed these days. But it was a pretty medium event from a vendor standpoint. I think that a lot of vendors are. I think there's a big problem with vendors trying to expand past their sphere of influence, if that makes sense. So Star City ran Vegas last week, sorry. Star City ran Vegas last week, and they are not in Kansas anymore when they're in Vegas. They are based out of Roanoke, Virginia, and they certainly have their sphere of influence on the Northeast, but
Yeah.
and they used to run these huge Vegas events once a year. It was this big perennial thing, but I don't think you can expect people to show up for a Star City Games event in Las Vegas because there's no more name or prestige to attach to that sort of circuit. There's no grinders. There's no people on this like following them like a band trail.
JJ and I talked a lot about this on the episode we did together too, where like people don't realize that the Magic player base rotates every 3 to 5 years. You know, like 5 years ago, I was big on YouTube. People will come up to me out of nowhere, people in convenience stores. I stopped doing YouTube. Today, no one knows who I am in Magic.
And I don't think
that's all fine.
And I don't think it did rotate 10 years ago is the thing. Like 10 years ago,
I agree.
The average length of a Magic player playing the game was much longer. And the average lifespan of a Magic player has shrunk, even though the average quantity of Magic players has grown.
Yeah, I mean, that probably has something to do with the original player base getting older.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
the original player base.
people
like,
die, JJ. Welcome to the concept of mortality.
There's a lot of statistics based there.
Jason's
As obviously
age,
your
right?
new players can't account for lifetime statistics yet, so
Yeah.
etc. But like I agree, I completely understand your point, and it rotates so fast. It's like the sort of general awareness of what is what, you know.
I had a lot. So one of the cases we have at this Command Fest is we have a case full of just Secret Lair foils. These cards tend to sell pretty good in multiple card orders at shows. So we have a lot higher concentration of, I'll take that, I'll take that, I'll take that, and I'll take that. And so even though you're only bringing maybe a $5 card minimum, it becomes a little more worth it when the average transaction is in the $20 to $30 range for selling a card.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of customers that were, what does that card do? And it's like a card from 2015 or 2016.
Yep.
That to probably most of the listener base of this podcast is an old card that has been around a while, or if you're in denial, yes, that card just came out yesterday, it's brand new. But so we have so many customers that are just, oh, I got into Magic through Lord of the Rings, I got into Magic through Hatsune Miku, I got into Magic through such and such intellectual property spit swap that Wizards did with whatever other company. And I had so many people. Yeah.
Sorry, that just like really hit me with some visual imagery of like WotC CEO like going up to like follow to Bethesda and being like, hey, and just like, hey. Anyway, sorry. Sometimes a visual mind is a dangerous place.
If nothing, I've given you a good episode title. Just
exactly.
Intellectual spit swap. Like we.
It's so accurate.
But the point is that we have had so many new players come into the game, and these players don't recognize or shouldn't recognize this old guard of content creators or achievements or prestige that used to come with playing the game consistently at a professional level. And so when you have a company like Cool Stuff that is based out of Florida try to run an event in Atlanta, which is 10, 12, I'm bad at geography, hours away, 14, I don't know.
I think it's lower than that.
Bottom of Florida to like top of Georgia, figure it out.
Doesn't matter. 6
farther
hours,
than
8
most
hours,
of Europe,
matter.
for reference. Right? Like
Yeah,
driving from Germany to Spain might be shorter.
Ends poorly for that vendor, and I think Cool Stuff tried to do some neat little things to enhance the player experience. They had little punch cards that the players were required to transact with every vendor to get their little point stickers or whatever that they could redeem at the end for a promo. Sure. Neat little low cost on their end to try to increase engagement and like make it more of a convention experience, which I think a lot of us have wished for. But overall, the event itself was not good. From a let's go here and spend 20 grand to try to buy collections standpoint, exclusively from that standpoint, mind you. I'm sure there are plenty of players that went, and I mean, I talked to a lot of players who went and had a great time, but like we are talking from my weird micro niche business standpoint.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is I also see it on the competitive side. I talked to the competitive Magic players of the Pro Tour today, and they're like, yeah, I picked up Magic in 2021. I started playing right before the pandemic, and I just started playing PTQs or whatever about 2022, you know. And yeah, the turnover, especially from the pandemic and the competitive side, is it, you know, Magic kind of became something else, and a lot of people used the break to decide that they needed to move on with their lives, and there's been a lot of turnover on the competitive side as well. So yeah, all of that checks out. It makes sense. So do you think people, like, is it just a numbers issue for you, DJ, or are there people not showing up with the intention of transacting?
I think it is a little of both. I think it's mostly a numbers issue of getting people to care about wanting to make this like the Magic event they want to go to.
Yeah, the Commandfest seem really. I don't see a lot of advertising for them. I guess they just kind of.
I don't think there's a lot of advertising, and I don't think there's a lot of. I think there's part of it is Wizards and reducing incentive to chase very big cool cards. We've seen weird attempts on this that are hit or miss, and it's of course frustrating when they continue to do both the hits and the misses at the same time. Like, oh, there's another Secret Lair Elishnorn that got effectively revealed this weekend when somebody opened it as their secret 1 in 100 card from Lair or whatever. Oh, it's like Elishnorn with a cowboy hat, whatever. But yeah, it's you'll be the one putting it on screen, JJ, in the post.
Yeah, but, I'm excited to see this card.
and like, sure, that card is selling for $400 to $600 in the weekend. Very, very neat, cool for whoever opens it. But like, it's Elishnorn number 600 that we have so many of these specific Elishnorns, and then you also have people bringing cards to sell and being very disappointed when they learn that the cards are not worth what they think they are, and that's a big part of the problems with the industry too. One of my coworkers / colleagues in the industry, Rodney Bedell, we've had him on the cast before. Go look him up on Twitter. It'll be in the description. But he posted something of that effect on socials this weekend. Of it feels really bad to have to tell people that their cards are that they paid good money for. Like, oh, I went in this event, I played in this event, I opened these cards, and having to have that conversation with the player of your cards are not worth what you thought they were. I'm not trying to scam you. I'm not trying to get you. I'm trying to do a regular capitalism here. And then turning the laptop around and just shrugging, just shrug emoji. And yeah, I paid $10 for this and I can get 3 for it because it doesn't sell. Or, oh, I opened the wrong foil version of it because I thought that it was the borderless Ripple and it's not the borderless Ripple. And just all of these factors that come into play of just having a negative player experience for opening their cards compared to the previous system of, oh, I got a foil. Monkey brain foil, good, hand to vendor, and then you sell that to the whale. Great. Awesome system. Love that system. There's still room for ultra premium cards within that system of serialized and super ultra chase cards that can be done correctly, like the borderless concept or the special art concept creators. Very cool. But I mean, I'm beating the dead horse here, but like just the oversaturation of variance and player confusion of how do I collect Modern Horizons 3 cards? I don't know. Let me learn how to use VLOOKUP first. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Like, I think part of that
2 hours of sleep, by the way. 2 hours of sleep.
2 hours of sleep, and he comes in with a solid rant. No, I mean, I think part of it is I'm with you, DJ, is I think it comes down to players only have so much attention and they only have so much money to spend on travel. And the reality is we've, over the pandemic and after, we basically kneecapped people living the casual to pro dream. Because we took coverage away, we've taken all these other things away that put it in the public eye that make me think I could be a Corey Baumeister. And even if I don't like win the SCG circuit or whatever, I could then parlay that into becoming a streaming personality or whatever. All of that is kind of gotten kneecapped. And now you combine that with there's so many more Vegas events and big events that are all vying. You should do your Commandfest. You should also come to our super competitive Magic Con, and you should also try to come to the Laughing Dragon event out here in California, and you need to come to the Nerd Rage Gaming event. And like all of these groups are just kind of trying to eat up enough market share to continue to grow. And I think that we're seeing that the player base doesn't have an appetite for that much.
I think most players also just can't afford to do many of them. It costs $1,000 to go to a Magic Fest. By the time you're done buying a ticket and a hotel and a plane travel and food, it costs a minimum of $1,000 to go to Vegas. Now, you've done that, right? You've chosen to do that for a trip a year. Now, are you also going to drive 6 hours to spend $300 at a Command Fest? Probably not, because there's nothing larger tied to that event. It's just an event where you go play Commander with your friends like you could do at home. It had I think those Command Fests had a little bit more of a place when we were just coming back and they were trying to blah, 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 blah from pandemic.
Reconnect
but also
people.
Like pre Magic Cons, right? Like the idea, I guess, is that the Command Fests are smaller. They're obviously done by local vendors or some regional vendors, I guess, third parties. So it's really kind of up to them. The Command Fest is just a branding. But I mean, it's a lack of consistency probably across. Like the experience seems to be, as someone who doesn't know much about them from the outside looking in, you go down, you sit down, you play some games of Commander. There's some vendors there. You've paid some money to do that at the end.
Well, we have,
I don't know.
Not all these events are bad, though, is the thing. We've had several good events this year, and I think there will be several good events going in the second half of the year. I was at MXP San Francisco. Great event. I was busy all day. All 3 days, I was just buying cards. A couple of those, I was bogged down in like 5-hour collection buys, but those are the 5-hour collection buys we don't have in Atlanta and whatever other city I was in. So, like, we have these events, and we're going to have more. I think SCG, the regional championship in DC, will be huge.
It will be.
The regional championship in DC, run by Star City, in an area where they have market share, where they have historical precedent for bringing people into these big competitive events. That will be an event where it's in a good location for regular Magic players to travel to. It's in the Dulles Expo Center, which Cass will tell you all about, and she will give you her food list at some point on Twitter. But like, that event will be huge. We have range and room for these good events to happen. The trick is just figuring out how to make all of them happen and all of them be good. Right. Not even all of them, like most of them, like a good percentage of them.
It's interesting. Yeah, well, it's interesting how much of a wide range of experiences there are for you. Because I think to most people, they say, "Oh, Commandfest in San Francisco, Commandfest in Atlanta, those seem like they should be roughly equal."
The GDP of one of those countries is a little higher. The average socioeconomic status of
which one?
Well, look, that's something that I think people, because that's the consideration from a vendor side of things, right? And that's not something that is even in the control of the regional vendor putting on the event. All they can control
there's a little bit of control. I mean, Star City is planning out their RCs for 2025, and I know that they are in the process of making the very difficult decision of trying to get a hold of convention centers for that. And
well, yeah, Star City's running RCs for the entire United States. I'm talking like your West Coast Command Fest or your Southeast United States Cool Stuff Command Fest type things, right? Like Star City, the RCs are going to be huge. There's going to be 1,000 people playing in the main event at each of the 2 RCs that are happening per cycle, which in 2025, because there were, I think that will mean 6 events in 2025, if it looks like this year. So yeah, that is a ton of bodies guaranteed to be at those events. It's the Commandfest events, I think, are sort of in an interesting spot.
And for the SCG cons and the MXPs have been rebranded to Laughing Dragon Experience. They're not Magic Experience anymore because they do have Flesh and Blood, and they are trying to brand out. So the SCG, the con style, I mean, all of us focus on Magic. All of us pretty much exclusively focus on Magic, but like, they do need to branch out and give players of the other games a reason to show up. I mean, I've had conversations behind the booth before about restructuring the vendor system to incentivize certain vendors to be a featured vendor for that game. So like, you have to have X percentage of your inventory be Flesh and Blood, and you want to do Flesh and Blood, we have a vendor here that is just for you. You want to buy One Piece cards? There's no One Piece events, but we have a One Piece vendor. If your LGS doesn't do One Piece, this is where you go to get your cool Luffy.
Those are good. Those are smart. If you're
it doesn't restrict you from doing Magic. You can still buy Magic, but it would require a percentage of your showcases to be dedicated to a certain game for you to gain that featured vendor status.
Well, think about it too from the perspective of the TO. If you think about it, if their goal is not just to be the largest, I'm not speaking to anyone in particular, to be clear here, but to be the largest Magic tournament organizer. What if it's the next level of that is, okay, well, what if we're not running a Magic convention? What if we're running a trading card game convention?
And now we get into what TCG Con tried and failed and crashed and burned.
It's theoretically, I mean, that's what SCG Con's doing too, right? They're running all the events. Yeah. Hunter Burden did as well, right? Like, you can do it. But yeah, like, that's the next level of that, right? Would be to have featured vendors for each game. Because then if you think about it at the massive level, you probably never get to this, of course. But like, I was at BlizzCon last year, worked that show. The way it was organized was there were 5 halls, each dedicated to their own thing, each with their own team running them, blah, 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 and everything's delegated on down. But Hall A, which was your Warcraft hall or whatever, is very different than Hall D, which is your Diablo hall, which is actually gated off by an age-restricted thing because it's rated M for mature, but they have featured vendors at the front of each of those sections of the convention, right? So if you think about that in the TCG aspect, maybe one day you don't want just a TC Flesh and Blood section. You want a Flesh and Blood hall run with all your Flesh and Blood. You want all of that. So yeah, that's sort of the first steps on it, is setting up a featured vendor for different games.
Yeah, I think it's a little hard. I think the hurdle you have to overcome there is the player bases shifting between games. Like, I don't feel like there's a lot of fluid player base movement between Pokemon to Magic to Star Wars Unlimited to Flesh and Blood. Like, it feels like there's a big incentive for people to not jump into a new game until you're like done with your existing.
But you fill the car up.
I guess that's true.
Get your Pokemon guy, you get your Star Wars guy in the car, and you have a loose affiliation with each other, and y'all just jam.
Gen Con.
They'd rather become Gen Con than be, an SCG event or whatever.
Well, I don't know if
an idea of a GP.
I cannot imagine that anyone wants to be the person in charge of Gen Con. Am I wrong? Like, am I wrong there?
How much are you paying me?
There's just no way.
There's no way the person in charge of Gen Con doesn't make sizable six figures.
I don't.
Right?
I don't presume to know how any of it works.
What's the fallout?
His name is Bob Gen Con, and he does that as a kindness. It is a volunteer service he provides.
From beyond the ether, is that Jason? Welcome into the show, Jason. And this is a surprise to all of you listening. You never know what's going to happen on Brainstorm Brewery.
Sorry, guys, I can't stick around. I just wanted to come in and mess.
Do you want to say hi to everybody? Jason is well, actually, I don't want to say anything. What do you want to say, Jason? Go ahead. I don't want to say what you're doing.
You don't want to say where I am.
You don't want to dox.
Are you? You don't want to. You don't want to tell people I'm on the continent of Europe.
I didn't know where in your travel you were.
I'll be home by the time this goes out. Like,
Jason, don't underestimate 4chan. They'll use the fucking audio sound waves of I can tell he's in fucking Yugoslavia by the
bells in the background of the church.
Yeah.
I played some
GeoGuessr
recently.
Boxes in the frame, guys. It's fine. I'm not worried about tweeting pictures of what I've been doing all day. Like, it's fine.
Well, welcome in, Jason, to the show. I hope you're enjoying the trip. We're glad you could pop in to say hi.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a different J person on the show this week. It's been
everything closes at 9 p.m., so I'm super bored.
Hey, that happens where I live too.
That's true. That's how backward Europe is. It's practically Oklahoma.
He's in Missouri.
You can't smoke weed, but children can smoke cigarettes. It's a fucked up place.
Oh, man.
Get them hooked young.
Well, you want to play Breaking Bulk, Jason?
You have to be 18 to buy a Red Bull, but you can just buy a pack of Camels.
You want to play Breaking Bulk with us?
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
I'll start things off. JJ, that was your cue to put in the music there.
Oh, yeah, music.
Sure. Make sure to let the editor know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to start things off. It's a Modern Horizons 3 card. It's a Modern Horizons 3 green uncommon.
H3. You're doing a set that's been out for a week?
Well, depending on how you look at it, it's been out.
He's going to win because nobody knows what cards are in that set. So you're just going to
green uncommon. I've drafted a lot of this set.
Is
it a red green uncommon? Is that the only card that people are playing?
Chrysalis?
5 abilities.
Chrysalis is a common, and it's red green. In fact, it's not red green at all. It's devoid. Did you know? Fun fact: casting Chrysalis on Arena does not count towards your red and green quests because it's
of course it doesn't. It's devoid.
Yeah, if you're drafting a lot of MH3, you're kind of screwed.
Don't draft the Eldrazi Jack.
Anyway, this is a $2 green uncommon that's a commander staple.
Commander staple.
Instant commander staple.
Commander staple.
Reasons.
Corbin, I don't consider Cultivate a Commander staple. You're gonna have to give me some context.
Is it? Wait, is it the?
It's an
the Nightshade Druid.
No, but it is an MDF. It's an MDFC, so it's just broken.
Oh, you said it's an uncommon.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. So it's the thing that costs 3 colors and 3 green, and you draw a card for each creature.
Yeah, no, it's better than that, Jason.
Sacrifice, whatever that thing is.
Yep. Yeah.
Disciple
of Freyalise. 3 and 3 greens. A 3/3 when enters the battlefield may sack another creature. If you do, gain X life and draw X cards, where X is a creature's power. Of course, the broken part is that the backside of the card is a land.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you're going to see that card a little bit. It is funny. Some of the things we talked about a few weeks ago, we've started to see play out. Like, obviously, Ruby Storm with Ral is broken. But Elves has actually performed fairly well in modern challenges, and this card is in there. So not that I think that's gonna necessarily make huge movement on it. It's an uncommon and a super popular.
It's just this card, and honestly, all of Stupor is the other really expensive uncommon in this cycle, the blue one, and they're just they come into play untapped for 3 life or whatever in Commander, and that's a negligible enough cost that it feels like it's probably correct to just have 2 or 3 of these MDFCs in both of my decks. And then say the cycle, like the red-black one, for instance, that takes cards off of your opponent's deck and you can play them. That on the backside is a red-green tapped land. Now you're just mana fixing.
Yeah. And I mean, they're all good. It's beginning to get to the point where with these double face land cards that we're going to just start being Star Wars Unlimited, where every card in your, or close to every card in your deck is gas. And you are doing a lot less with having to make choices early about lands.
We had this problem with triomes too, right? Triome fetch
just the best
formats
version
are just, I don't care what colors are. I'm going to play my Omnath, crack a fetch, and win the game.
That deck's back in Force and Modern.
Fires of Invention, go
It turns out having 15 triggered abilities on one card's pretty good.
Sure. Yeah, I got the Frank Carson update
I
on
have
Modern
more than
today.
5 Omnath decks, which you will recognize as more than the number of Omnaths there are.
Yeah, I got the Frank Carson update on Modern today, and things are completely shaken up. Now we'll see.
Well, I heard we were doing green uncommon from MDFC set, so I have a Zendikar Rising green uncommon.
Is it the regrowth?
Balaged Recovery.
Roiling Regrowth. Yeah, got me.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to think it was Balaged Recovery or something like that. Yeah, Roiling Regrowth is basically a better hero, and it's very buy listable. So yank those out of your bulk. Don't just flip over that set and pull out all the MDFCs. Some of them are trash.
Yeah.
Although that threaten is better than it used to be, so maybe yank that Azul's Fury or whatever. Yeah, yank that out.
I mean, I don't know. I followed advice from you all a while ago. I literally have a 500 count box that's just all double face cards that have lands on the back. It's just they just sit there. I'm like, eventually they're going to be worth something, right? Or they're going to get reprinted into dirt.
I don't think they're going to reprint some of the ones that are just there because it's like a limited combat trick plus a land. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, guys, that's my time. Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure to break some bulk, and I'm not going to guess yours anyway, so I'll talk to you nerds later.
See you, Jason. Thanks for popping
in. I just did a really good Discord outro sound.
It was actually pretty spot on. That is one of my favorite things that have been added into Discord soundboards is that leaving Discord sound effect.
Yeah!
It just messes with people all the time. I love it. It's annoying, but it gets you.
One of my favorite Discord call shenanigans is putting on in the background in the Discord player 10 hours of silence randomly interrupted by the Taco Bell bell.
That's good.
So we're just like playing games as a group or whatever, just hanging out, and then like 20 minutes in, boom, and we're like, woo!
It's like the DVD logo finally hitting the corner.
Yeah.
I love it.
One of those things of like 30 years from now, Daddy, what did you do for fun? Well,
I watched the Minecraft. I watched the Microsoft Maze screensaver.
yeah, the pipes.
Yeah.
The
There's a
I was
bunch of
talking
colored
about the-
pipe ones.
I'm thinking about the brick wall maze one.
Yeah, the one that it ends with you like finding like letter and you bleed out from a paper cut, or yeah,
He's not gonna get it.
he's not gonna get it. It's fine. It's fine.
You're right, I didn't get it.
It's a game changer joke. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, I actually vividly remember being at my grandparents' as a kid, and their computer didn't have, I think maybe they had AOL, they didn't really have the internet, nothing to do then. I would watch the screensaver, or I would pull out old VHS copies of old NHL highlights from the like 70s and watch them. It was truly an experience. One day I got to take StarCraft and install it there. Completely changed my world.
All right, Corbin,
Meanwhile,
I'm
Ben's just
gonna
sitting here
change
playing
your
12.
world and give you an experience with this Onslaught Blue Rare.
Onslaught Blue.
There's like 6 cards this could be.
Wait. Ristic Study's not a rare.
You almost pulled a Corbin. That is not a rare, nor is it from Onslaught.
Yeah, I don't know what's in Onslaught, man. What did you say it is? A rare from Onslaught? No one knows what's in that set.
It has a creature type that no longer exists.
Oh, it's Cephalid.
Cephalid what?
The Cephalid for Cephalid breakfast.
No, it is not. Corbin, can you tell me what the card does?
No.
I believe this was reprinted in a Commander Precon, so you probably have seen it in a game.
A Cephalid that I've seen in a game?
I think you overestimate.
Well, Lawan the Empress is like a card, right? That bounces all the things.
I think Lawan was a legacy card against Merfolk.
Yeah, screw over those fishes.
Okay, it does not have a commander printing, but this is Callous Oppressor from Onslaught.
Oh,
Let's see what it
It
looks
is a
like. Maybe I'll
3-mana
recognize the art.
It's a 3-mana 1/2. It's pretty kinky art. You probably won't recognize it. It is a 3-mana 1/2
I did not recognize
Cephalid. You may choose not to untap it. When it comes into play, your opponent chooses a creature type, and then you tap it to gain control of target creature that is not of that creature type as long as it is tapped. So if your opponent is on mono elves, they're going to name elf, and then you cannot steal elves. But you can steal anything else. So it is a mono blue tap to steal something. There's plenty of intruder alarm-esque shenanigans you can do with this, or just plenty of ways to untap creatures over and over and steal things and sacrifice things to untap. You can easily clear a board sans 1 creature type with this.
Yeah.
And it's $1.50. It's
It's a good one.
Just a nice little if you find it in like a bulk 5-cent rare bin, if you buy bulk rares, you're like, I'll pay 5 cents a piece for your bulk rares. And then you pick this one out, you put it on TCG for $1.99 LP, and then eventually it'll move on direct probably.
Nice.
All right, JJ, did you have one to contribute here?
I've got one.
All right.
It'll probably be easy, but we'll see. So we're in Modern Horizons season, so we're gonna follow the patterns of Modern Horizons 2, green uncommon.
This is post Roka for me.
Okay, what did you say? Modern Horizons 2.
2, green uncommon.
I didn't draft this set.
I can picture the set symbol. Wait, Scurry Oak.
Yes, it is Scurry.
Good one,
Oak.
DJ.
I'm so good at this game.
That was a good one because I know that card. That card's a combo piece on Arena.
Yep. Yeah,
I
it
was going
combos
through
out
a-
with Heliod.
I was going through a filing cabinet in my mind palace, just like throwing papers everywhere, and I found a little squirrel eating paper, and I was like, green, squirrel, +1 counter. Red
2
string
hours
everywhere.
sleep DJ on 2 hours of sleep DJ brain undefeated.
Listen, we can't beat DJ. We can't stump DJ on 2 hours of sleep. We're doomed.
The Rock Lee leg weights are
Well,
off. Sleep is a
I got
weakness.
there. It was Modern Horizons 3 that was the stumper. But I am glad Jason popped on he'd be able to, so he could get it.
All
that
right,
was
I
good.
have one more from Cass. It's
Okay.
not from Cass, actually. Cass did not give me this pick, but I feel obligated to give the listeners a fifth breaking bulk because Corbin will not be here next week. So this one is an Apocalypse Common, of which there are like 2 that are worth money. So,
of which there are 0 that have ever been seen by JJ or I.
That's
if you've played Pauper, you've seen this card a lot.
Okay, I don't, but let me think. What's that?
Apocalypse. It's the one with the creepy
the
mask.
sad face.
I know what it looks like because I always picture the Pain Lands. So like,
Sure.
I can picture it.
This card is a Pauper. I don't know if it's still a staple, but it was a staple for a very long time.
Let's see. Pauper staples that fall into that is not Battle Screech. It's not. Is it the monkey?
Also,
is it
zero.
the monkey?
No, 0 reprints. It's white. That might give it away.
It's not giving it away. I'll tell you that.
I know that the listeners right now are screaming because
the one I'm thinking of,
blaring their horn.
I'm thinking of the flag bearer guy, but that has a reprint.
It does not, Corbin. Corbin, Standard Bearer does not have a reprint.
Is that it?
You are thinking of the other Standard Bearer. I believe it's like Coalition Standard Bearer. There's a 4-drop that does have a standard. Does have a reprint. The regular card called Standard Bearer does not have a reprint. It's
okay, that's funny.
1-1 version of this card. If an opponent plays a spell or ability that could target a flag bearer in play, it's a flag bearer creature type, then they have to choose this as the target. So it has historically been a little magnet for removal.
Goes to the top of a Pauper curve. That is in fact how I knew that one.
And the card is around $3. Market price is $1.33, but one of the biggest things about Pauper cards specifically is that you can almost always get a pretty good direct premium on them because people are just ordering bricks.
Their decks, yeah.
So when somebody's ordering a Pauper deck, they really specifically do not want to order everything from 60 different envelopes. That is the last thing this person wants to do. So they want the deck in one package, and so when you have your 4 Standard Bearers for their sideboard, you put 4 of them at $2.99 in direct. And when you're a friend of mine who asks for 4 Standard Bearers and asks if I can do 50 cents a piece on them, I just tell them no, because this card, I want to get my money out of it.
Listen, there's no reason for you to settle for 50 cents when you know they'll eventually go.
It's like a 20-year-old card. If you find it, you get your money for it. Like, seems fine.
Foils are between $10 and $15, by the way.
What's sad is that Pauper deck is sitting over on my shelf, and I couldn't remember the card.
Well, Pauper almost never gets talked about these days, and I don't see paper Pauper events. Remember, there was that whole year of paper Pauper Professor Picks or whatever, where it was just a whole thing because that was a psyop. Magic.
That was 100% a psyop.
Well,
by who? Who's psyop?
I mean, they psyoped you, Corbin, because
I
started
the goal?
playing.
What was the goal?
Playing because your LGS started running Pauper events on Saturdays.
Oh, I started selling
and I was
Pauper
like,
cards.
Okay, you know what? I'll buy a Pauper deck. They're not that expensive. I'll go crush some people.
Corbin,
I'm glad I sold you Pauper cards.
The goal was YouTube views and social media impressions on manufactured outrage about the price of Magic cards.
You're right.
Pauper is such a nice screwdriver in the neck that you can twist. There's another nice little mental image for you there, JJ. For like getting people mad about the price of Shieldred or whatever the boogeyman or the format is, and then if you just make Pauper content, people will suck it up on the ground like they're drinking some sort of thing off the ground. I don't know. Ignore the rest of that metaphor. The point is that Pauper is a psyop. That's another potential episode title.
No, that is a episode title for a DJ rant to the camera. Just individually screaming in the camera about how Pauper is actually a psyop. We just need that as a separate video.
Pauper is a psyop. That's an interesting one.
It's just my face here doing some emotive thing, but you replace my background with just like the page, like a Truth Social page.
No, I need you to do your best Jim Cramer for Mad Money or whatever.
I know who you're talking about. Is it more of like a
and it has all the sound effects on his board?
It's everything. He's got the board. No, he's got the board, DJ. I know he's got the buttons.
Yeah. I know he hits the buttons.
He's got a soundboard. It's just a radio show he turned into.
I know who you're talking about. I'm just. Is it this thumbnail? Is it this thumbnail? Is it a?
Well, it's this, and then we like replace your eyes with like the swirling pattern.
No, give me anime eyes. Give me anime eyes.
Anime eyes, yeah, perfect. Get on it, Matt.
While you're doing physical bits, JJ, could you show me like what it would be like if you had a shake weight?
No, but I've got a great great photo image that I'll put right here on the screen right now.
It's crazy what you can do with deep fakes these days.
Yeah, that's
like you know how to deep fake somebody. Corbin's gonna pay for WinRAR while trying to deep fake JJ.
Well, I tried to get there the easy way, and he won't do it. So what am I supposed to do? Okay, I don't have Photoshop I guess it'll be MS Paint.
That's your strategy. Ask your opponent nicely to do your work for you.
It worked in that one game of Magic at the RC. All right, it is segment heavy this week. We had the Breaking Bolt segment. We had the Jason Guest segment. That was a fun one. That was unexpected for us. And now we have Pick of the Peak. This game makes a return every month or so. It's a fun one. This week, JJ has queued up something for DJ and I to guess at. And I will tell you in advance that it is not Reggie Drago, which is my Pokemon Pick of the Week for anyone who's interested in my Pokemon content on TCG Player. It now exists. I'm a published Pokemon author. So anyway, JJ, let's hear your Pick of the Peak. I just wanted to get that little, get that in there.
All right. Well, we've got the White Orchid Phantom has re-inspired people in Modern to just land destruction their friends out of all the fun of the game. But as a part of that, Boom Bust has been cycling in those decks. So I wanted you all to guess what is the high watermark for Planar Chaos, Boom Bust, and what is the high watermark date and amount?
I'm going to go with,
or we can do Time Spiral as well. Time Spiral Remastered if you need that.
I don't know the Time Spiral Remastered one. I also don't know that I'll get it right at all.
But the peak would be pre-TSR.
Yes.
Because I think it is...
It's
during
spiked.
The era when you could cascade and hit both.
Correct. That is correct. That is what I was pointing at as well, is there was the Blood Braid Boom Bust era.
Yes.
So I would say,
don't know what year that was. I want to say 2019, 2018.
Oh, no, earlier, DJ. I'm way earlier than that. I'm like
Blood Braid was unbanned with Jace, and that was like 2017, I think.
Well, I'm not necessarily thinking of Blood Braid specifically, but maybe it would be 2017 then, right?
I'm going to submit $18 in 2018.
I was going to say $20. I was thinking more like 2015, though.
Well, Corbin, you're closer on the date, but you're both way off on the price.
Did it go to like 40?
July 2016, the average price was $10.30.
That's
the highest?
That's not way off.
$20 to $10? That's cutting the price in half.
I said 18.
Frankly, I thought it would have spiked higher. Because I remember it. I remember that whole thing clearly. I was able to pinpoint it close enough. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think it was actually Deep Dwellers, Goblin Deep Dwellers.
There you go. I knew it wasn't. I knew it wasn't specifically Blood Braid, but it was shenanigans. Yeah.
But yeah. And then you're actually seeing the Time Spiral Remastered version is now at $9.90, as well as the Planar Chaos. So we are just about to possibly cross the Rubicon if it keeps climbing over the next week.
Well, it's been spiking really hard.
Mm-hmm. The deck's good. Turns out blowing up your opponent's lands still good in 2024.
Especially if they're trying to play Eldrazi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not just that. Like, keeping them off of their lands for Nadu means they can draw a bunch of cards. They can't cast a lot of spells.
Okay, yeah. There's also, a lot of people are in on, like, Triome plans these days, that can be punished, especially You're on the
Cut them
Boom
off
Bust.
the-
Sometimes doesn't line up well against fetch lands, but that is what it is.
Well, that's what my pick of the week is for.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That was a good pick of the peak because that took us back. We got to think about some fun decks. My first ever foray into like older constructed Magic was extended PTQ seasons, and I picked up a list from somebody and then worked really hard on a Jeskai and then later just Boros Boom Bust list. And those lists eventually turned into the early shells of Sun and Moon, I think it was called, where you played like Nahiri in Modern, like those Boros Nahiri decks. So there is definitely something there. A lot of experience with that archetype. It's a fun one. Good pick of the peak. We found all of this information, by the way, courtesy of MTGstocks.com. Generous sponsor of this podcast today. Also, I'll shout out MTGstocks, which was very helpful to me when writing Pokemon articles this week. But MTGstocks.com is where we go for all of our Magic and Pokemon financial information. The best you can find on the internet when it comes to finding out what's gone up, what's gone down, what's hot, what's not over the past week, over the past month or longer. If you look at the premium side of the site, which we highly recommend checking out, you can set trend alerts and price alerts and a lot more specialized, powerful tools that way. So we appreciate MTG Stocks, as always, shouting them out as we're able to look back at their data and see the price history for Boom Bust going all the way back to the year 2012. July of 2012, when it was 96 cents.
Yeah. And shout out to Patrick, who apparently there are still people out there who are doing Magic Finance who don't know about MTG stocks, much less the premium side, whose life was changed when I pulled up MTG stocks. He's by Royal Collections here in Missouri, and then like piece him out to TCG Player and Card Kingdom.
Yeah, just grinding it. Good for him.
His mind was blown when I showed him MTG stocks.
That's amazing.
The premium side, he was like, "Oh, this is gonna save me so much time."
Yeah, I hit somebody with Pika stocks the other day when we were talking about Pokemon. It's like, I love Pokemon Finance. I follow it all, blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh yeah, are you familiar with Pika stocks? You can look at it." And he was just like, "What? This is." Because they've been like watching Instagram where like content creators would post like 10 cards that had moved or something, you know, just seeing everything in a spreadsheet is really powerful data for people. But that's why we love it. And of course you can look up these next cards we're going to talk about there as well, because it is time for Pick of the Week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
All right, mine is, I actually put this one in the sheet 4 or 5 days ago, so I'm thinking past DJ. Because I
Holy shit, you guys! I'm sorry, this is different. From Beyond Spiked.
I know.
I'm rich!
I have 50 of them in a box in Nathan's basement. That was in my spec box. From a billion years ago.
Why is
because
it
when we moved, we minimized stuff, so I took a big load of shit.
Now is your moment. Go.
I have to go
Run.
I have to. Yeah, I
Leave
have
the
to go.
podcast.
Seriously, I almost gave up on them, but instead, I just kept collecting more. Every time I came across one, instead of being sad, I just picked it up.
You heard
now I have
it
to go
first,
find
everyone. Double down on gambling.
Turns
You're
out.
always so close.
You never miss if you keep picking up the 50-cent card for what is it?
Free.
For
The answer was free.
8 years. 8 years if you just keep picking up the 50-cent card.
Well, especially if you're buying collections or trading, the card costs 20 cents. Throw it in there.
Opportunity cost? What's that? Inflation? Never heard of her. But if you just tunnel vision, if you just keep your blinders on and focus on the reality you want to manifest.
Yeah.
You
it's like people who watch the news are sadder than people who don't watch the news. It's exactly like that. Only focus on the things that are going to make you happy.
You know what's going to make me happy? The fact Waste Knot is on its glow up again.
Yeah,
so Waste Knot is a 2-mana enchantment from M15. Its claim to fame is being the what do you call it? The community created card of that year. Mm-hmm. There was a little Wizards game event thing they did a while back where they let players submit polls or submit votes on
Design
what they
ideas.
wanted a card. Yeah, design ideas of what color card do you guys want to make? Black was voted in. What enchantment? Okay, what mana cost? You want it to be 2. And so the community created this card, Waste Not. It has historically been a very, very popular card for discard outlet strategies. Anything involving like what's her name? Turgrid, God of Fear, any sort of like Nekusar shenanigans with Wheel of Fortunes. It was very expensive for quite a while. It was double digits, $10-15. Then it was in Wilds of Eldraine Enchanted Tales, which cratered the price down to $1.50 or so. I remember for a couple of years I was putting these in quarter bins, 50-cent bins, thinking, "Wow, this has fallen so much." It is back on the upswing. It is around $4 market price. It has just slowly and steadily crept up there over the past only about a year. Like earlier this year it was $1.50. Now it's $4. And I think that as long as it continues to dodge reprints. Oh wow, this was the bonus card in some crazy zombie looking secret lair. Yeah, it looks like Jinji Ito, but it's not. But that one is around $20 and has been for a while.
It might be the metal secret lair.
Whatever it is, but I mean, I do think that if you can buy play sets of Waste Not for between $10 to $15, and if you are the kind of person that will play a play set of Waste Not across 10 different commander decks, first of all, seek help. Second of all, you will save around $10 or $15 in the future on your next therapy session.
Yeah, and I mean that's great, right?
I love Waste Not. All right, JJ, you get the honors. Wrap up the show this week. What are you looking at for pick of the week?
All right, so my pick of the week is from Modern Horizons 3, and currently we are at it. It has been cracked open, but this card I have seen. I've been watching a lot of modern content coming out of Magic creators over the past couple weeks, and this card is perennially in people's sideboards at the moment, and I don't think it has been picked up on how good this card is when it's good, which is in most matchups, which is Disruptor Flute. So this is a flash 2-mana Pithing Needle that also affects the cards in their hand. They now cost 3 more to cast. And then you can't activate abilities of the chosen source unless they're mana abilities. So it is just a flash Pithing Needle, so you can hold up your removal spell, your counter magic, your whatever, and if they don't go for it that turn on the end step, flash it in, name the
What's
card.
the card called, JJ? I'm sorry.
It costs 3 more, or its abilities can't be activated. It's a powerful card.
Notably really miserable with grief when you have full information.
Mm-hmm.
I bet. What is the name of this card, JJ?
Disruptor Flute.
Disruptor Flute.
Yeah. Any sort of effect like this gets so much more powerful when you have easy access to information. Historically,
imagine if Get Probe was still legal.
Things like Sorceress Spyglass are very good on the 1-2 punch with Thoughtseize. This is just, I see what you have. I take the important thing, and then I neuter the other important thing, and we're coasting.
JJ, I think you said this is a sideboard staple. It looks like right now.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I'm seeing people like Spike. I'm seeing the winning deck list from the Modern Challenge this past week, which was Mono Black Sorin. All of these people are running a couple copies in their sideboard. I think we're going to just see that this card is going to be like, hey, you need to pick up your 2 versions for your modern deck, and you're going to bring them in, and they're going to be in your sideboard in pretty much every deck.
It does seem like the thing is, there are a lot of cards like this, but if this is the one, like Sorcerer Spyglass is the one that got mentioned, right?
Yeah.
Classic Pithing Needle. Obviously, anything that costs 1 or 0 can be brought in with, or as a saga,
which is why I'm sure they made it cost 2. As they were done with the
for sure. But it does have some interesting things, right? Especially since, so you can't. The flash is really interesting because you mentioned you can tax their spell, but right, say you know their hand, or even if you don't know their hand, though, you can wait for them to tap out for their Planeswalker, and then flashes in and name the Planeswalker on the stack, or the Yawgmoth on the stack. And it doesn't matter that you didn't have to guess and make them pay more because the tax is only part of the card. You can turn off their 4 mana card or their whatever card for 2 mana at instant speed. And then, it definitely opens up to a lot. Just the flash is huge, but I like how it fits. The modern Pro Tour is going to be so fascinating. It will be wide open. So I actually like the idea of looking at a ubiquitous sideboard card rather than trying to predict something that is unpredictable entirely.
Right. That, and like, I think Leyline of the Void is going to be huge, as it often is when you have all these shenanigans graveyard decks running around, but I don't think that card has any real area to move. But I think that this card is going to, it's the best version of this effect. I think, other than the fact you can't get it with Saga. So in that way, Pithing Needle might be better, but I think the flash aspect makes this huge.
Yeah, very, very good. Okay, well, I think that does it for us this week. We want to thank all of you for sticking with us. Thanks, JJ, for filling in this week. Thank you, DJ, for powering through on 2 hours. Nicely done. Hope your next trip goes a little better.
Yeah, shout out to Delta at the Atlanta airport for doing the good old, everyone's favorite joke, the old delay, and then cancel past midnight. That does remind me. So this was a segment I was going to open the show with, and then we started talking about Netflix subscriptions and defeating capitalism. So that was my situation. Is it's past midnight. Everyone's been waiting at this gate because we're just all in this together, and then everyone gets them canceled. Announcement, right? The flight is at 6 a.m. So roughly 5.5 hours from now. Everyone's groaning. You go get your hotel vouchers, your meal vouchers, whatever. I see everyone booking it towards the customer service line, and I think you're all fools, because it's going to take maybe an hour. Well, you can call, you can text, you can do all of the various ways to contact customer service without sitting in line, or you can multitask it and do kind of both while you're waiting in line. But even if you get your voucher within, let's say, 15 minutes, now it's like 10:45.
Yeah, it'd be very fast.
You have to take the right, and you take the shuttle. You get to the hotel. It's like what?
0 chance it's worth it.
Yeah.
And so now you're getting into the hotel bed at like 2:00 in the morning, and you have a flight at 6.
Yeah, you got to be up in 2 hours.
Congrats.
Huge misplay by everyone else. Yeah. So I just go to the lounge that opens earliest. The one that opens earliest is at 4:30 in the morning. I find a little cubby, and I just set up my backpack in a way that is a barrier. Just camp out for 4 hours. The Sky Lounge opens. I grab some snacks and drinks, and I just power through.
Yeah.
Were you able to sleep?
You made the right play.
Were you able to sleep on the floor there?
No.
I'll pull that one. I'll throw my bag down on the ground, use it as a pillow, and I'm done.
I will do that. I have a more difficult time sleeping in standard. I'm an autism baby of I have this position I need to sleep in.
Very reasonable.
But I would have done that if that had been the case. I'm not opposed to sleeping in. Yeah.
Now, do you travel with earplugs?
I bring my Bose headphones that are noise canceling, which is a little rough because you can't really lay on them very well unless you have a pillow. So that's a little unfortunate. Especially
I started picking up the habit of taking an eye mask and earplugs anytime I go anywhere.
I do have the eye mask.
I don't do any of that.
The earplugs, it's a little you're more likely to get some security person coming up and kicking you if you're sleeping somewhere you're not supposed to because you can't hear them. Go, sir, you need to get up.
I think I would rather just try to figure out a position that my music headphones can still stay on. And then another thing I just added to my checklist for my bag for events is one of these little Mint micro USB fans, battery powered fan with a little stand. It's because it was 1,000,000 degrees in the airport, even at
that seems
midnight.
Nice. Yeah.
So this is getting added to my.
That's great.
You should also get on the mic. Some ASMR there, right on the fan, just right there.
You should also get a little lanyard that you can clip it to, so you can wear it around your neck when you're walking.
Sure.
Have you not seen these? Like maybe your TikTok is probably very different than mine.
I don't use TikTok, so yes.
Oh yeah. Well, that's probably why your information isn't being harvested. But
oh, it is, but
but just by American companies.
Twitter's
the way
the
we
worst.
intended.
Twitter's actually the worst at it. I had a meme get stuck on my phone. Like, we were dropping the car off this morning to get work done. There was a meme that was the last thing I scrolled on my phone from some account I don't even follow. I opened my phone up at home. It was still there. Marianne opened her phone up right next to me, and it popped up for her. It does that to us all the time.
Twitter,
and that's something I didn't click on it. I didn't interact with it. It literally was just like the last thing on my phone, and then immediately served it to her. So like they have to be tracking your screen and then using your screen
proximity
to provide recommendations for people who you communicate with. Like Marianne and I send each other DMs a bunch.
Yeah.
So like that has to be the line there. So like, that's some pretty deep harvesting there.
They're using you're both using your phones, right?
Yeah.
So they're using your cell phone identification number combined with your IP address, as you're both connected to the same Wi-Fi network. And so they assume that you're in the same household, so they share with you, which is why, just like on TikTok,
you don't think it's just saying that. You don't think it's just saying because Marianne and I DM each other a bunch. It's an extension of the people you follow.
It's because you've connected to the same Wi-Fi networks, because that information is harvestable, and you're connected to, and you're on like the same area. That's the same way TikTok works. Like if I go and I like am in the same proximity area to other people, TikTok starts pulling pieces from theirs and putting it on mine. And Twitter and all of them are doing it now, because they realize that's part of how you get people to think your algorithm is awesome, is if when I go to talk to my friends about this video and they go, oh, I saw that video too.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks your algorithm's genius, when in reality, you're just like taking things from person A and putting them in person B's feed.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, what good is a shared space if none of the discussion is shared? Right?
Yeah, right. I mean, it makes sense. It brings like actual discussion to social stuff. But Twitter's a garbage fire now, so get off.
But it also just makes everything manufactured. That's what I think of whenever I see any story or any viral clip of anything. It's almost always like the original clip is whatever, and then the outrage to the clip is manufactured. But then what you actually see is people dunking on the fake outrage, because that gets a lot. The easiest thing to do is, I can't believe these shitty people are being mean to this nice woman on the internet. This nice woman on the internet deserves so many more views. Fuck these shitty people. And the shitty people accounts are all fake, right? And maybe the video she did in the first place is fake, you know? Like, and people are just like, no, I don't want this to be real. It's everything on the internet is fucking fake. There was a recent video of some Tesla guy going around who was dunking. The idea was he was trying to make a video to get easy views by dunking on the Cybertruck. He had a Cybertruck, and he was like, my charger got stuck in the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck is shit. Here's what I had to do to get it all out, blah, 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 blah. And then he shows the manual release thing that exists, blah, blah, blah. And the whole thing is basically like, one, if this happens to you, like, it's kind of, this manual release looks like shit. It's just a pathetic design flaw in the Cybertruck, right? But then, so that video goes out, gets popular. Then the reality of it, the update comes along or whatever, that his truck was never actually broken. It was never stuck in his port. He just set it up that way so he could make a video. But he actually broke his truck by doing the manual thing when it wasn't. But see, now he's gone viral a second time for the explainer video of how his first video was bullshit. And it's like, wow. But this is several days of internet discourse, right? And regardless of what you think of any individual thing, the point is that almost anything that you've seen come across social media over the past several years, 5 years, who knows how long, could just well be manufactured from the complete start. Whether we get into politics with it or not, shit is just made up. The counter narrative is made up. It's all bullshit to get you to stare at a screen. Anyway, I saw a thing that the Surgeon General or whoever was supposed to be attaching a warning label to social media. And I can't help but think that social media is the fucking asbestos for all of us. And it's already
for
fucking
sure,
rotted.
yeah.
It's already rotted our
saw-
brains, and it's
I
too
saw
late to change it.
It's
I think it
lead
was Hank.
paint for our parents.
Yeah, it was
Yes,
Hank
yeah.
Green It was Hank Green on Vlogbrothers who was like, in 50 years we will look at social media the same way we do cigarettes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. All right, I think that wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Brainstorm Brewery. Check out these after hours we put in. DJ hung in there. We even got some after hours in, so check those out on patreon.com/BSB. We appreciate all of you who support us there, as well as our sponsors at MTGstocks and Coalesce Apparel and Design, where you can use that gift code Brainstorm Brewery to get 10% off your entire order for any content creator on the website. That does it for us. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Oops, I didn't mean to.
Corbin's like,
I think
"And hang up."
I hit the wrong red button. Like in my head, I was gonna stop the